No właśnie, jak to się zaczęło?
So how exactly did it start with women's rights?
I mean, with the women's rights issues, it really all began still during the times of the freedom and peace movement, because the Western women's organizations were very much interested in learning what was going on here, what this grassroots movement was like, whether women participated, and so on and so forth. And there was this conference, the so-called Żytnia Street Conference, where the freedom and peace movement activists met with, at the beginning of my activities in the freedom and peace movement, there was a well-known conference at Żytnia Street in Warsaw, where activists from the freedom and peace movement met with representatives of various grassroots, left-wing groups from Western Europe, and feminists came to that too.
Oddolnych, lewicowych z Europy Zachodniej. I tam właśnie przyjechały feministki. To było moje pierwsze spotkanie z...
This was my first meeting with people who would later become very important to me. They were famous feminists and less known ones. There were women who were involved, who worked in this organization, War Resistance International, for example. There was a feminist writer, Mena Kostash, from Canada. There was a nurse, Vibeke, from Holland, who taught us how to create support groups. This woman from the War Resistance International, for example, would teach how to organize civil resistance. That is what the civil disobedience was all about. And in what way to resist, the non-violent way to resist. And I mean, this was also a very interesting experience. At the same time, they were all feminists. And it was very, I mean, I liked what they were talking about very much. And they were kind of completely, I had an impression that they were defining things I knew about, but I didn't realize they really existed. I mean, I realized various things such as, for example, discrimination. Even within the freedom and peace movement, with this domination of men in the movement, for example. And I had known that, but it didn't seem possible to go against. The only solution seemed to be like these men, of course, and then at this point, it would be possible to become visible, to become a leader, as important as they were. Being a woman, on the other hand, with the value system and behavior patterns kind of typical for women, was something that didn't give an opportunity to become a leader. And these women made me aware that this was not the case, that women in the West and in the States felt the same, and that they actively opposed that. And some of them decided this was a problem, and this is how a really big movement started. Some of them, but in various places. So they wouldn't be thought of as a few women in one central place that decided about that. And these women brought together a few women from the freedom and peace movement, who also thought similarly, and they believed it was possible to change things. I mean, by listening to women from the West. Later on, they were also sending us a lot of publications and coming many more times, so that there were really endless conversations I had, and I got a lot from them.
Do you remember what year that was?
It was 1985. No, I'm sorry, 1986.